Driving schools in Singapore are taking action against a growing army of internet bots paid for by students to reserve and book lesson slots on their websites. Now, this comes amid a post-COVID wave of sign-ups and an apparent lack of available sessions for hands-on driving. At least one has put up a notice recently warning people against using these services on Telegram and other sites like Carousel. Now, our reporter Claudia Lim joins us live now for more. Claudia, it's good to have you with us tonight. So tell us why this is happening now.
So I first found out about this through, my friends, people who are younger than me, who were all complaining about how, they're waiting so long for a practical slot at driving schools. So as I was investigating, one question that really bugged me was, why are young Singaporeans still choosing to drive? And that's as Singapore is going car light, and also that COE prices are really expensive now. They're skyrocketing. So for young drivers, they might not be able to afford a car, and a small car can go close to $100,000. But as I find out, a lot of them, they're not actually buying; they're instead renting.
Owning a car may seem out of reach for 22-year-old Calvert Chua, but the full-time national serviceman has other ways of getting behind a wheel. He rents about 3 times a week from a car-sharing firm that has vehicles close to his housing block and pays around $9 per hour. The easy access is a reason why he took driving lessons about 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a life goal. So I've always wanted to drive cars, and so that was what motivated me to get my license. Cars are quite expensive these days. So for a younger audience like me personally, it would be quite difficult to get my hands on a car if car sharing companies didn't really exist.
Calvert says he drives to save time running errands or to join friends for supper. This allure of convenience is driving more young people like him to similar car-sharing services.
Almost 40% of our sign-ups are actually by new drivers. And what is more remarkable is that 1 in 3 new sign-ups are actually by young drivers themselves. Before COVID, we were looking at maybe 1 in 5, as we're one of the early major car-sharing players to introduce car-sharing to new drivers.
To cater to younger drivers aged 25 and below, it allows those with P plates to sign up and offers insurance that limits accident repair costs to $500. GetGo, another car-sharing firm, is seeing a similar trend with younger drivers. Sign-ups for those in the same age group jumped by about 4 times since 2022.
More and more young people see that they have that flexibility and the convenience of being able to drive to meet their needs without having to own a car. There are other factors, the ride-hailing economy is one of them. Delivery as an industry is also one of them as well.
GetGo has about 400,000 users now. Its fleet has grown to about 3,000 vehicles to meet demand, and more will be added in the coming years.
And with this demand, Claudia, how has it affected learners in schools?
So with demand still strong at driving schools, some of them have reported very long waiting times for practical slots. So in Singapore, we have 3 licensed driving schools. We have BBDC, Bukit Batok Driving Centre. We have CDC, ComfortDelGro Driving Centre, and also SSDC, Singapore Safety Driving Centre. So for SSDC and CDC, an average wait time is about 2 to 3 months for the first practical slot.
Sure.
But for BBDC, Bukit Batok Driving Centre, they have the longest waiting time. And when I went down to the school at the information counter, I actually snapped this shot where saying that the next practical slot is only available in March next year. So
almost 10 months, yeah?
Yeah, so I actually stood outside the school, finding out more from the students.
Okay, let's have a listen.
I signed up in January, so I'm taking the Class 3A automatic. Yeah, I'm currently doing my practical right now, and it took around 5 to 6 months before I can actually do my practical. My thing is actually going to expire already, so I have to end up spending up more money to extend my membership.
So the next slot is March of next year from today. I'm not sure if this was a backlog from COVID or there was a sudden surge of people just wanting to learn how to drive, but It could be a manpower issue like everyone has, right? Just hope that there are more slots available, yeah, so that we can just quicken the process.
So when it comes to preference, Claudia, do people still prefer driving schools to private instructors? Because, just to share you my experience from many, many years ago, I actually chose a private instructor based on the assumption that, the process would be faster and more convenient. What about you? What was your experience like?
So I personally took my lessons in a driving school because what I liked was that, they have a very structured curriculum. They made sure that I hit certain milestones before the next lesson. So from my conversations with other drivers or learners who are, learning in school now, they are saying that, they're willing to pay, over $1,000 for about 20 lessons. And that's because they know that the school has, progression and they are able to also book their test slots easier through schools.
Okay, and you were mentioning earlier that people are desperately using bots to book their driving school lessons. How are they doing that? And why are there still lesson slots when it's all fully booked?
Yeah. So usually students, when they book their lessons, they like to book multiple slots at once. But not all the time they are able to fulfill all these slots. So they have to release it back, for everyone else to take. So these are the slots that everyone is, vying for. So unless you have a lot of time to camp in front of a computer, you might not, be able to get these slots. So that's where bots come in. So online, they are known by camper bots or booking bots. And, on Carousel even. So on Carousel, you can find people giving these services. So for those who are, that's a Carousel page. So, for those who are interested, they will be directed to a Telegram chat. The chatbot then gives step-by-step instructions. Users will be asked to provide their driving school account and to put their learner ID and password into it so that they know, to link it up. Once done, users can pay up to $10 to get 1 bot credit to book slot. There are options to choose a preferred date and time. And what these bots do is to either send you a notification when a slot is free, or it can also help you book the slot. So some of these bot scripts are also available online, and there are even YouTube tutorials. So if you know how to code, you don't have to use this service. But I spoke to an expert on how effective these codes are.
One thing that bots can do is that they can do web scraping. So they can basically access the content of the website and they just extract the relevant information. They also make use of something called headless browsers. They can simulate real user activity without actually visiting the website itself. So making the interactions quick and succinct. A normal human cannot compare with the speed. So in terms of booking slots and booking tickets, right, they have a much higher chances of, booking in bulk.
So the bots are basically causing trouble here, but is this something that's legally wrong?
Yeah, so the bots are not illegal. We see them being used for booking concert tickets and also for uni students to book any lessons that are very popular. So Ms. Omar says that, it's not illegal, but it's definitely unethical because it deprives other people from getting a fair chance to get their slots. So the driving schools are actually aware of this, and for SSDC, they recently put up a warning on their website, warning people about using these bots. And for those people who use it, they could face suspension. And for CDC, they have also put in strict penalties, for example, a 3-month suspension for anyone who has been caught using these bots. They're also working with an external vendor to check or to generate reports on who is using these bots and bot behavior. And CDC is also investing a lot into AI algorithms.
Okay, let's take a look at this story.
Over the last few years, we have implemented CAPTCHA as well as one of the measures. So what CAPTCHA did was to authenticate the user, meaning to say that the person who applied for the session is a real learner rather than using the bot to try to book the learning sessions on his behalf. In the end, everybody will have a fair chance to book their sessions.
So the implementation of the AI algorithm, Claudia, has that been effective?
So CDC says that it's so far been effective. They're seeing less people, use bot on their websites. But, stopping bots is not going to solve the issue of not having enough slots. So, during the pandemic, a lot of people held off on their lessons and they continued after the pandemic. So CDC says that they're still trying to clear this backlog from the pandemic. And, I got an exclusive look on what else they are doing to solve this issue.
Okay, let's take a look.
More than 100 cars go round and round this circuit each day, a place where many aspiring drivers begin their learning journey. Nestled in the Ubi Industrial Estate, Comfort Delgro Driving Centre sees about 2,000 sign-ups each month.
During COVID, we see some of the learners deferring their lessons. But after COVID, we saw a lot of them coming back for the last 2 years. So in order to meet with this increased demand, what we did was increasing the number of simulators that we have. We also increased the number of instructors, and at the same time we also buy new vehicles.
The centre has more than 350 instructors, nearly a tenth more than 3 years ago. Also new are 4 car simulators and 15 cars, which is the same as adding more than 700 learning sessions each week.
What CDC is committed to do is continue to buy vehicles as well as recruit more instructors so that we will be able to support the learners better. This is an ongoing process. We do not have a cap on the number of vehicles that we are buying, nor the number of instructors that we are recruiting.
More cars will be added each year, and it's also looking into technology such as these car camps to help students learn better. But these days, the school is also racing to meet a surge in another group of learners. Riding is fast becoming a cheaper alternative to cars, and some may want to use the skill for gig work like food delivery. Sign-ups for lessons are rising so much that 2-car simulators will be converted to motorcycle ones next year to reduce waiting time.
So as for the rest of the schools, I've reached out to them, but, they declined to speak. And what I understand is that these bots can be tweaked and modified to catch up with the technology used against them. And experts say it's really just a cat and mouse game until the schools find a foolproof way to tackle these bots.
All right, it sounds like it's basically us against technology. Claudia, thank you very much. We appreciate this special report. That was our reporter, Claudia Lim, in the studio with us on internet bots spreading to driving schools.